Hi everyone and welcome to Coconut Chats. It's Harita here and today I'm joined with my friend Chris. Hey Chris, how are you?
Hello everyone. Harita, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So today we got not one but two guests with us. So they are two sisters from Melbourne, Heena and Priyanka. Their story is quite a sad story, I guess you could say. Um, they've both been abused by someone in their family, both by the same person. And recently they've started speaking up about what they went through when they were growing up. So that's why we're interviewing them to get their word out there. But before I say too much, I'd like the two of them to tell you guys themselves what they went through. Hi, Hina and Priyanka. How are you?
Hi, we good. How are you doing?
Good,
Hi,
good.
this is Heena. Thanks for having us over here. We're good. Hope you guys are good too.
Thanks for joining us. So, first things first, I guess our listeners will want to hear what happened to you two. Tell us in a summary, I guess, from the start, what the two of you went through from the beginning till now.
Hi everyone. This is Heena. What happened was that when I was a teenager, when I was 13 years old, 13 turning 14, I noticed that my father used to do some things to me or started doing certain things to me which felt a bit uncomfortable. I wasn't really sure what it is. I was a bit shocked and also ashamed to ask anyone because I don't know what it was, but it really made me uncomfortable. And those things continued until the age of 16, and when I finally kind of tried and understood that, oh, this something which is going on is not correct, it's not a right thing to do. No one should be doing that to anyone without permission. So that was when I was 16, I realized that I was abused sexually by my father. And we have Priyanka over here who can sort of give a brief snapshot about what happened to her.
Hi everyone, this is Priyanka. I'm Heena's younger sister, and I've been abused by a father. I think it was the adolescent age where I was abused by my father. It was kind of hard to understand what is happening at the beginning because none of us had the idea of abuse. When it started happening, it was definitely very uncomfortable to even come and speak to anyone. But I knew that I can't really speak much about it because I saw my sister saying what has happened to her, which didn't make any difference in anyone's life but her. So I started keeping it to myself. I cried, but didn't really had the courage to even come out to her and say that's this is what happening. This is what's happening to me as well. So yeah, it has been a couple of years now. We've been trying to grieve out of it, but it's like it said, the person who goes through it knows well. So we're still trying to get out of this. It's a hard journey.
It's not only hard, but it's heart-wrenching because when it's person who's so close, who's meant to be your parent and guardian, when that person does something like that to you, it's unacceptable and unthinkable to say the least. Moving on to the next part, both of you, you just mentioned what age was it when you guys first realized you were being assaulted, right? But in all of this, what was your mother's role? Like when this was happening, or even after you realized this had happened, was she aware? Was she made aware? And if she was, how did she react to your accusations or claims?
So this is Hina. I'll start with mine first in this situation as well, because being older in age, as it happened to me first, and my mother was made aware of it.
Yeah.
Priya? So I was 16 or maybe 15 when I told my mother about what was happening. It was just evening. I was sitting by the couch crying my eyes out because my father was going to come home after his shift duty. And she asked me that what's wrong? Why are you crying? And I finally told her that what was my dad doing to me, and she was in shock. Like, but it wasn't what I expected because as a adolescent kid, when I was 13, 14, the 2 years when I kept quiet and I did not tell my mother about it, the reason was I thought she's gonna die. I don't know what's gonna happen to her. But I told her, and she gave me, courage that don't worry, it's not going to happen again. She apologized to me. She said, I'm sorry. I could protect you. It was all good when she assured me, but maybe there was no confrontation with with my father at that point of time. So I don't know the way she might have communicated to him or what happened, but the abuse did not stop, and that kind of made me lose faith in her,
Yeah.
which still lingers on because she's passed away 2 years ago. But I think that's an unresolved issue which I'm still dealing with. In fact, we both are dealing with because she knew it, and we don't know why she didn't do enough to stop it.
Priyanka, will come to you. What has your equation been with your mother when you told her or when you wanted to tell her?
Well, I never thought that I would say it to anyone because growing up in an environment where I could see my sister being ignored and not even being considered as a person in a family, to be frank, because she was just like, okay, there's someone sitting there who is lying about her own father. Because usually everyone believes that father is a person who protects you from the society. But when things come up like this, nobody believes you. And I didn't had the courage to even speak to my own sister regarding that. So for talking to my mother was just not something which I would have ever done. But later on, I did confronted in front of my father and said it to my mother as well. But sorry, but he just denied it. And um, yeah, so my mother just said that this is what you're saying, but he is not accepting that, so I can't really do much. And then lots of dramas, crying and stuff like that, but my father didn't accept it, so I kind of lost that trust again, which I never had it, but I thought maybe it could work, but it didn't really work even then after years.
That's just unfortunate. Harita, we'll move on to you.
So then, how long did it actually take for your dad to admit that he had done this? How long did he actually address the situation after you had told your mum about all of this?
Well,
He hasn't admitted that situation
yeah.
till date.
Hasn't.
Yeah,
No,
he's
he kind of has. So this is Heena over here speaking. The first time when we confronted, I remember very clearly. I was in year 10, and we confronted my father, and he touched my feet, and he cried, and he just fell apart, and he was like, "I'm so sorry. I was in bad company. I did not know what I was doing." And then slowly and slowly, as time passed by, he just changed his face and he said, I have not done anything. You're lying about it.
or this is something which has happened years ago. Guys, Priyanka here. I'm saying that he actually didn't admit it anything, but when he did, it was just to say that okay, this wouldn't happen because we brought it up to my mom in year 10 when she was in year 10. But that time I wasn't there in that whole kind of situation. I think I was in grade 5, so it didn't started with me
Yeah,
then.
yeah. He also said 2 years ago when we went back to India after mom passed away, and I went back with my husband and my daughter because the whole family wanted to meet, and there was this discussion going on, and He just told my husband that I don't know why these girls are creating such a big thing about something which happened 10 years ago. Like what happened happened. But like my husband said that you can't kill someone and say, oh, I killed them 10 years ago, so I'm not going to be responsible for it.
So in a way, he kind of has admitted it, right? Because he's saying, oh, why are my daughters angry at me about something that happened 10 years ago? So in that, like, in a subtle way, he kind of is admitting, yep, I did that. Because otherwise he'd just be saying, oh, they're angry at me and I never even did anything to them, if he was in complete denial.
Yeah, more of a subtle
But his statement changes his statement depends on the person who is talking to him. Because if the other person is strong enough and takes a stand and said, no, you have done this, we know it, and then he'll be like, oh yeah, this happened 10 years ago, like it's not important. But if the person says, oh, maybe you have done it or what's happening, and then he'll just completely deny it. So it depends from person to person how strong the stand of the other person is. He will either accept it and try to avoid any responsibility, or he will completely deny the fact that it happened.
Yes. So the two of you have addressed the situation. The two of you have told your mum about what was happening, but it's like your dad is the one that doesn't want to address what's happened or talk about it properly, or come to some type of like conclusion, or some type of like apology after all of that.
Yeah.
Speaking of your father, guys, I'm curious to know that if this is a repetitive behavior, like have you discovered or have you guys found out if he assaulted someone else too, or was this borderline bipolar disorder, or what was going on in his mind? Like when you sit down today and think back, what do you guys come to a conclusion as it? Why was he doing what he was doing?
I think some people, because I discussed that with my husband, who's got a psychology background, and I was curious to know that why he would do what he did. But I think his thought process was like, these are my daughters, I am raising them, so I am the first one to be able to enjoy them, in quotes, like I don't know. He thought that we were his property.
Yeah.
So that was probably going on in his head. And when he was doing stuff to us, he also said that I am teaching you this, that you should not be doing it with someone else.
Those were the words every time he abused us, and that's where it all started.
Oh my God. It will take a while for us to digest it. Like a father saying that to his daughters. That's just, can I use the word monstrous, if that's all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just
Do you
horrible.
know if he has done anything similar to anyone else?
So this is Heena here, and we just recently discovered, we don't want to take the name of that person who is also a family member. We recently discovered that she wasn't sexually assaulted, but she was physically harassed, and he tried to kiss her forcefully when my mom had just given birth to Priyanka. So it was before the abuse even started with us at that time, because we were obviously very small. She was just born. And at that time, she tried to kiss one of our family members forcefully, and she did not come out and tell anyone, because obviously, young girl has to get married, doesn't want to come out in the society. But when she came to know about us, she was really upset about it, because she thought that if she would have brought this up, maybe it wouldn't have happened with us.
No, makes sense. So guys, the next logical question is, has there any complaint being made against him? Has he been deemed responsible in court of law or justice?
This is Priyanka here, guys. We are now filing a complaint because obviously we didn't had the courage in these many years, and not to mention that we didn't have the power in either to take any actions. So yes, we are now doing things. We have spoken to a lawyer. We have written our complaint and given that part to them. It's going to be all online because obviously we can't travel back to India due to the COVID pandemic. So yes, we have initiated it.
It took us
That's great.
years to gather the courage. And now, since we have started our battle, no matter how much time it takes, because we all know that getting justice is not easy, especially when it comes to something like this, because this happened years ago. There's no evidence. It's not rape. He did not insert his penis inside us, because these are the questions people ask. But no, he did not insert the penis inside us, but he did everything else that is practically possible to sexually assault a person. So, whether it's legit, whether he should be punished or not, there's going to be a lot of questions which we have to deal with. But now we are ready to answer those questions in the court of law and get him the punishment or get him the virtue of what he has done. And maybe this is a rare case, or this could be a rare case, who is that, we have come up and spoken after years about what has happened, but hopefully it will give courage to other people that if it has happened to them or if it is still happening to them, it doesn't matter. Even whenever you speak, as long as you speak and you come out with it, it should be okay. You should be able to get the verdict of
Absolutely.
thing what they have done to you.
Just one quick question before Harita moves on, guys. When you said that you needed courage to come out, what was that courage needed for? The fact that he was your father, or the fact that the society would hurl a lot of questions on you, the society would doubt your happenings? What was the courage needed for?
Hi, this is Priyanka, guys. So basically, the courage was, yes, definitely the societal pressures because we were still living in India, and the other point was the uh, the financial insufficiency at that age, and people look it into a way that okay, now because you have the money, you're doing it. We don't know whether it is true or false, but even if someone has the money, wouldn't be happy to give such kind of allegations. But these were the two major points we didn't had the courage for doing such a complaint or even to come out of this bubble and speak out in public.
And telling of that, this is Heena, just reminding me of, the courage side of things. Well, actually, a lot of people in our community knew, because after we didn't get help from our mother, we reached out to other people who are close family friends and very educated people. But unfortunately, no one thought they should help us, because apparently they discussed with mom, or they tell now that they discussed with mom. Mom's not there to verify the story. So they just said that, oh, we were just told by your mom that don't worry about it, we'll deal with it, or it's our issue. So that's why no one did anything. But I honestly feel that if something like this comes up to me, and if a child trusts me and tells me about what was happening, I would, even if it takes an anonymous call to an authority to let them know about the situation, to just go and give a check, that would have helped a lot, and maybe that would have changed our mental status or our you know suffering from a different point of view. Like, we would still suffer because we would be dealing with all those things. However, it could have stopped maybe earlier, or the fear that he would have faced, that someone knows it and someone's going to keep a check, that would have stopped him from financially abusing us by saying sort of do not talk about this in front of anyone else, otherwise I'm not going to pay your school fees, or I'm not going to pay your college fees, you won't be able to do anything, I'm just going to keep you locked up in the house. So these things wouldn't have happened if more than 10 people in the community whom we actively reached out for support would have at least taken one step, because they asked us the question. They were like, oh, you should have taken one step, you should have done something, and we would have supported you. And we said that, well, you expect us to file a police complaint at the age of 14. Our first step was coming to you. So I think this is a huge message to everyone out there, that if a kid is coming to you and telling you, if you don't have the courage, if you're dealing with society pressure, at least make an anonymous call or inform someone else who can take care of the issue, rather than just leaving it and saying, oh, it's their family issue and they are going to deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's it's like a meme on Facebook, on a couple of like Indian Facebook pages, like She the People and a few of those. And so your what you've just explained now reminded me of this meme where, like, you know, Indian people will gossip about everything. When are you getting married? When are you having babies? What have you studied, etc., etc. But then if there is a problem happening in the house, quite often, you know, between husband and wife or between kids and parents, people say, oh, that's a private matter, we should keep out. It's this it's an illustration that I saw on Facebook, and what you told me right now about, you know, the 10 plus people that you reached out to not doing anything because your mum said we're taking care of it in the house. It just reminded me of that when something actually life-threatening or really bad is happening, people in our society turn a blind eye. But when it's just gossip, then they're the first to jump at it, you know, to ask you about interrogative questions about your love life and education and everything. But something like sexual abuse, and they just think, oh, it's okay, they'll take care of it, we don't want to bring it up. You know, and it's like, another thing I was going to ask was if your mum believed you. But from what you've told us, to me, it seems like your mum didn't believe that your dad was doing this. Is that true, or did she believe you but not know what to do?
I think so. This is Heena here. I think she believed us, but she was in denial all these years, because it was easier for her to continue to live with a man who is just being blamed, but it would have been difficult for her to live with a man who for sure she knows that has abused both her daughters. So I think she turned her blind eye, and she kept being in denial for so long, because I don't know why. Maybe it's the pressure of the society, or she thought, you know, her parents would die if they come to know something like this was happening, and you know, they made a wrong choice, they married her into the wrong house. Or maybe, you know, all these status quo in the community, that oh, their family is so good, the husband earns so well. I don't know whether it's the money, you know, too comfortable with where she was. I don't know. These are that's for sure that she knew we weren't lying. We could feel that she knew we weren't lying. However, she chose that path. So that was her sane decision. That was her decision which she took at that time, and it led her to not even being alive today. She died at what, 53, which is quite young to die. When she was out with that person on a vacation. So that's a mysterious death. But anyways, that's not the topic of discussion today. But she knew it. So coming back to your question, she knew we were not lying. She knew it for sure, 100%. However, she chose that path because maybe that was easier for her to stay in denial.
Yeah, and Priyanka here, guys, and also a fact that yes, there were social obligations, so it made it like her decision was even firmer when she got to know that okay, nobody is going to support me with this, so I'll just do where I am. Like I can't be doing anything else.
Yeah, I guess like, if you know that your husband has sexually assaulted your children, and then maybe she was thinking in her mind that, she can't divorce him because what society will think if she divorces him when she's got you two to worry about as well. Or maybe she was kind of financially dependent on your dad, and it becomes intertwined, and especially when there's kids involved, it's like you can't just walk away from the situation. So maybe for her, just living in denial was easier than facing the truth as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And moreover, Priyanka here, guys, again. So moreover, I think it's in a country like India, they have this happy family face. So no matter what happens in your family, they don't wanna discuss about it. They'll just have that mask face in front of everyone, saying that, oh, we are happy family, we have daughters, but look, we're still making them study. No matter if they're getting assaulted by their own father, nobody cares about it. They're more like, oh no, we're all happy family. So that's the pretend business what my mom did all through these years, even though she knew deep inside that that's not the case. That's definitely not the case. My daughters are not lying to me.
Guys, mindful of the time, last question before we kind of wrap up. I know this question is a no-brainer, but I still want my listeners to hear it from you. An event like this usually scars a person for life, right? Especially when we don't know the perpetrator. But in this case, you knew very well and he was your parent. How has this affected you psychologically? Hina, I'll start with you and then Priyanka, you can wrap this up for us.
So, I think this is something you learn to live with. It's like these scars you get when you're fighting a war.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have learned to live with it. Obviously, there are times when I still get night terrors or I still get flashbacks, and any major change in life can trigger those emotions back. Birth of a child, death of a mother, any major change can trigger those things. But I think what can keep you together in those situations is a good support system. And I'm glad that I have a good support system. My sister, my husband, I've got really good friends. They are there for me. They can sense it on my face that something is wrong, and if I need help, I can seek out help. And there's no shame in saying that I have seen psychologists and counselors for several years. In fact, I'm also seeing a psychologist now because after the birth of my son and after coming out in public about all these things, it has triggered a lot of emotions in me, which I'm still learning to deal with. So I think it's something you just learn to live with. It's not like it's not like a chicken pox, or it's not like a tuberculosis, which you take medication, it's gone and it's done. I think it's something which always stays there, but you learn to live with it, and you slowly get to a point where you kind of like your scar, because that is what makes who you are. So I strongly believe that no matter what happened, it happened to me so that I could become who I am today. So life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us so that we can be the person we are today. So that's what I sort of feel.
Priyanka?
For me, I would say at the beginning when it started and all through the years when I saw there was no help I could seek out to, I was in a zone out phase. Like I couldn't imagine what's happening, and I thought that I was into a glass cube where I'm banging it very hard, crying, but nobody is listening to me, or nobody is even watching what's happening inside there with me. That's what the feeling I was in back in those years. But yes, I have learned a lot from my past, and I've always been encouraged by my sister, and I've seen that coming through all this crazy journey has made us very strong as well. There are certain times we still have to like think, or we get very anxious. So for example, if I want to meet someone on that age group, 40s or 50s males especially, it kind of creates so much anxiety in my mind, and I feel like I don't really want to go ahead, or maybe I don't know what's going to happen, or maybe sometimes I even have flashbacks of what had happened earlier. So it still dwells into my life. It doesn't go away. So that deep wound has no way to uh, scar out or come away. But I think over the years, I have learned techniques to make myself powerful and give a good output from that.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's like a form of like PTSD, you know, you've been through something really, really traumatic in your lives, and you just have to learn ways to cope with it when things trigger you off. I think, yeah, that's like one of the definitions of PTSD. So I guess like, to me, I'm just so shocked that something like this has happened to you too. But thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I know you've got even more to say, but because of the time, we've tried to summarize as much as we can into just 30 minutes. But if anyone out there is going through anything like this, or if you know someone that might be going through this in their household, like Heena and Priyanka said, reach out to them, try to do something for them. I think the worst thing you can do is just be a silent observer of something when you know something is wrong in someone else's life, whether it's a friend or a family member or a work colleague even. Thank you so much, ladies, for your story. You're so brave for coming out and telling us and telling the world what you're going through. I really, really hope you two get the justice that you deserve, because no one ever deserves to go through anything like this.
Thanks for having us, Harita and Chris. It's good to be able to speak to more people about what happened. I think that's one therapy that we
It is, yep. When you talk about a problem, it's like you've shared your problems. It's like a weight off your shoulders, right?
And it's also that one thing we want to say to everyone, if anyone's going through any kind of this situation, they should also understand that it is never too late to speak out. It is never too late. You can always come out, things can be resolved.
Yep, that's so right. So for all our listeners out there, if you've got any questions on this episode, feel free to leave a comment under the episode on Facebook or YouTube, or you can email us at coconutchats@gmail.com. If you've got any feedback or questions or anything at all about this episode, if you yourself would like to be interviewed about anything for a future episode, reach out to us and we will be in contact. Otherwise, we will come back to you with another episode very soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
all good.